What's up everybody, welcome back to another Dazzle video. Today we're going to be talking about Dazzle's level 1. Should you take Poison Touch or should you take Shadow Wave? Both are great spells in the laning stage, but whichever spell you take at level 1 makes a big difference on how strong you are and what you can do in the laning stage. Let's first start with examining 3 scenarios that makes Poison Touch a great level 1 ability. The first scenario is rune fights. During rune fights, the first thing to make sure is to always be the second hero going in. Unless you're placing a really early ward, or you have vision of all the other enemy heroes, you should not be in the front. Dazzle is not a frontliner, especially at level 1. Once you do get Poison Touch off, make sure to do one of two things. Either commit to getting Poison Bloom off, or look to alternate hits so your Poison Touch is active for the longest time possible. Here's what I mean by committing to Poison Bloom. Once you land your Poison Touch, preferably on 2 heroes, you're going to focus just on one hero and right-click 4 times. You're pretty much ignoring the other target. This allows you to maximize damage and slow on one hero at a time, while also keeping the possibility of future damage and slow because of Poison Bloom. Or you can alternate hits from the very beginning. This is great because you're maximizing the slow on 2 heroes at the same time, and you're giving your team the choice to commit to killing the 2 heroes if they want to. Every rune fight is different, so in reality you'll end up doing a combination of the two. When in doubt, just try and hit a hero 4 times and get Poison Bloom off. Remember, the 4th hit not only spreads the Poison Touch, but also does extra damage. The second scenario of taking Poison Touch is when you are playing support Dazzle and you are against enemy supports in lane that you can 1v1. Poison Touch in general is a great spell in that you can kill most heroes 1v1 at level 1. You can infinitely slow and damage enemies as long as you can hit them, so your spell will outlast any of their spells, and you can end up kiting most heroes. There are of course spells at level 1 that can counter Poison Touch. These are things like Legion Commander's Press the Attack, Lifestealer's Rage. You have heroes that can evade right clicks or run away, such as Hoodwink with her Scurry, or you have heroes like Morphling with his Strength Gain that has a lot of HP level 1. Speaking of supports that you can't 1v1 with Poison Touch, we have Shadow Demon with Shadow Poison, who outduels you. We have Wind Ranger with her Wind Run, who can evade your attacks. Same thing with Weaver and his Shikuchi. We have Abaddon, who purges off Poison Touch with his Aphotic Shield on a low cooldown. Jakiro's Dual Breath is very good against Poison Touch because he has move slow and attack slow and damage. Bane can outduel you with Brain Sap. Oracle can purge off your Poison Touch with Fortune's End. Witch Doctor can outtrade you with Voodoo Festration and his W. Phoenix can outtrade you with Fire Spirits, which slows your attack speed so you can't continue spreading Poison Touch. And Veno can kite you with Venomous Gale, which has a 50% slow at level 1. This is why it's extremely important to find out which skill each of your opponents has taken at level 1. This will determine what you can and can't do in the lane. If, for instance, if Wind Ranger took Shackles instead of Wind Run at level 1, then you immediately know that you are much stronger than her at the beginning of the lane. You can look to set up kills right away, and all she can do is try and run to her tower. Along with which skills your enemy took at level 1, one other thing you want to keep track of is Boots' first builds on heroes that you could otherwise 1v1 easily. Poison Touch has a 16% initial slow plus a 2% slow every hit. So if your opponent has a 310 move speed to start, Poison Touch can bring their move speed down to 260. If that hero goes Boots first, they will start with 355 move speed and get down to 298. So chasing and hitting heroes that go Boots first, even while attack moving, becomes very difficult. especially since in the side lanes, there's tons of trees that heroes can juke in and out of. If, for example, a hero like Coddle goes boots first, they will have 365 move speed, and you can only bring them down to 321 move speed, which is way too fast for a base speed Dazzle, which only has 305 move speed. So Poison Touch effectively goes to waste. Other heroes that can go boots first against you are heroes like Spear Breaker, Tiny, Earthshaker. Basically heroes that know they will get destroyed by Poison Touch, usually melee heroes without a Dispel, and they will make sure to have extra move speed to specifically counter Poison Touch in the lane. Against heroes like that, you want to cast Poison Touch in situations where the opponent has a reason to stay in a certain spot. For example, protecting their core in the lane. So instead of casting Poison Touch on the enemy support who has boots, cast it on the enemy core. Other great times to use Poison Touch against fast boots first heroes are when you're both contesting a body blocked camp, or when you're both contesting a pull. The third scenario is playing position 5 on Radiant. On the Radiant safe lane, the lane has the potential to push much quicker if your carry aggroes the enemy creeps under your tower, or the enemy blocks your creeps under your tower. So if you're playing position 5 on Radiant, you can take Poison Touch level 1 and be aggressive, cast Poison Touch a little earlier in the lane, knowing you will have a creep advantage. Now let's talk about scenarios where Shadow Wave is a better spell to take at level 1. Scenario 1 is if your lane doesn't have a nuke to secure last hits. The first range creep is a very important creep in the lane. If you're playing support and you don't have a core that can secure the first range creep, you should take Shadow Wave and nuke the range creep to secure the gold and XP. If you don't do this, the enemies will deny the range creep, and you and your lane partner will fall behind in levels and gold. This is also the #1 reason why you should skill Shadow Wave first if you are playing a core Dazzle. Dazzle Shadow Wave has the potential to nuke the first range creep for around 280 damage if it's surrounded by 3 melee creeps. A range creep only has 300 HP, so it's almost a full to 0 one-shot. This can be especially useful in the mid lane, where you can mess with your opponent's last hits and more easily deny their own first range creep. Scenario 2 is if Poison Touch has no impact on the opponents in your lane. So going back to the list, if you have any of these heroes as lane opponents, you can take Shadow Wave level 1 and look to trade right clicks, secure creeps, and heal your core and yourself as you trade with your opponents. In these kinds of lanes, it's going to be very hard to get good vision, pulls, and you'll have to focus on not losing the lane rather than winning the lane. Shadow Wave is a great way to sustain your way through these hard lanes. Shadow Wave is an 85 heal for 75 mana on a 12-second cooldown. A regular Tango is 112 heal or 224 with a branch. So if you take a set of Tangos with 3 branches in the lane and you cast Shadow Wave off cooldown, you will be able to heal around 1100 HP, assuming you cast Shadow Wave 5 times in the first 1 minute and 36 seconds of the lane. Tons of sustain for a level 1 hero. And last but not least, the third scenario in which Shadow Wave is good to take at level 1 is during rune fights. Shadow Wave can be a very powerful rune fight spell if you have melee cores or melee supports on your team. Landing a great heal bomb can have a big impact on the fight, just like it can in all stages of the game. In summary, at the start of each game, try to answer the following questions before you choose Poison Touch or Shadow Wave as your level 1 skill. Who are your lane opponents? Which spells will your lane opponents take at level 1? Can those spells dispel Poison Touch, overpower Poison Touch, or can the hero outrun Poison Touch? And lastly, can your lane secure the first range creep? Alright, that's all I have for you guys today. I hope you guys learned something, and good luck in your next games as Dazzle. Let's do this!
Dazzle.